Jessel, you're here already. Excellent.
My man,
My man,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You're glowing, man. Looking
The
good.
the production values have increased since our last talk in
I
July.
like it. I like it. My production value hasn't changed at all.
No. Here's my thinking, right? If this crypto thing just goes completely wrong, I bought one of those lighting rings, so I can become either a TikTok dancer or a makeup artist. That's my thought.
That works. Is there
Yeah.
anything I can get involved in on this? Because I haven't got I haven't thought of a plan B just yet.
I don't know, man. I think we need plan Bs just in case,
Yeah, I do need to start. These dumps every night ain't helping, bro. Every time I look at these charts after the US closes, man, it's scary. I wish I was a bit more emotional, then I might react. But it's like I look at it and it's like,
Well, we'll talk about emotions and stuff today.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think that's important. But first of all, how are you?
I'm good. I kind of feel I'm one of those annoying people who has had probably one of the best years of my life in so many regards, but I'm also very
That's
conscious
amazing.
that, you know, things can turn at a moment's notice right now. It's been a crazy year for so many people. So you won't hear me kind of like shouting from the rooftops and stuff like that. I'm just really staying humble with it. But I've just tried to make the most of the opportunities and the time and stuff like that. But how you
Yeah,
been, man?
yeah. I've been good. I guess I can't really complain. I have my health. My legs okay now. Yeah, just keeping busy, to be honest, man. Luckily, there's a lot to do, which I guess we'll talk about, but there's a lot going on, a lot of, things to take advantage of, a lot of opportunities out there. I do feel when the world globally, so not just England, but when globally things start getting back to normal, that status quo of all of this crazy stuff will eventually start fading. So hopefully this is the only pandemic we ever see in our life. So like, I guess I'm just gonna take advantage of where we are right now, and then obviously, get back to normal life and do some fun stuff and actually leave this room maybe in a couple
Yeah.
of months. But yeah, but for now we're all there. But okay, let's obviously we're going to talk about crypto. Obviously, last time we talked about stocks. One thing I'm going to say about stocks before we continue, Jessel had the best stock call of the year when you said rotate out of it. A week later, the whole thing went to shit. Now, I'm not going to ask you for your edge, but in basic terms, what made you come to that conclusion?
When it comes to crypto, I would like to put my hands up and say I am not an expert. Premz is the expert. Yeah, I am a monkey throwing darts at a dartboard right now in like my skill level compared to Premz. When it comes to stock market, I mean, I've been involved in it for like what 8 to 10 years now, and I could just see certain things that had increased at such a rate since last March, and it was approaching bubble territory. And then with the rise of crypto, I thought, well, hang on a sec. What if money starts flowing out of the stock market and into crypto? Which I will touch
Fair.
upon later because I think that's a legitimate concern.
Yeah.
And I just think that not everything goes up in a linear line. Like it just,
No.
like, especially new people, this might be their first rodeo, whether it's the stock market or crypto. You kind of just hope
Yeah.
like it's just going to go up like this. It
You
doesn't
do.
do that. It goes like this, and then you have to zoom out, right? And look at it at
Yeah.
a 10-year view. So it might be going like this right now, but that might just be a little blip. So just don't worry too much. But it is important to keep a bit liquid. And if things go to pot in one market, that you can just move into another market or just move it out and move it to cash. So just don't be wedded to anything really. That's what I'd say.
I like that. Yeah, I think that the rotation trade is definitely. I mean, I don't know. Even like I just looked for the stock market before it closed. For wow, this looks like shit. And then this guy on Twitter, North Hero FX, he's really good. He's a really sharp shooter. Like he must be a veteran. I don't know how long he's done currency for, but and he said, look at small caps. So I didn't even look at small caps. Look at that, and that looked like a bloodbath as well. But it looks like if anything, there's a rotation into growth right now. If anything, I guess if you're going to go sort of long term still. on the stock market. If you're not chasing pumps, it looks like there might be a rotation into growth. For me, I've maybe gone back in on certain elements, but my attention is solely on crypto right now. If I'm honest with you, I don't really have much interest in equity at all until the Fed maybe induces yield curve control or does something. The markets are going to keep throwing tantrums, in my opinion, until the Fed gets involved. But okay, cool. So crypto. I'm trying to think when we went out for dinner that time if we discussed crypto much at all. But for you, when did you and why did you start looking at it, even prior to investing in it? What was it that caught your eye about cryptocurrency that made you think, yeah, this is something I think that's worth my time, especially where you've been involved in traditional markets so long?
I think for me, I was involved in the stock market, and there are some things which I loved about it. I love the stability, the general stability of it, the fact that there's like 100-year history and you can kind of predict certain things pretty accurately. However, what I love about crypto is that it's 24/7, it's much more global, and I just think it's going to sound really cheesy, but I think it could change a lot of lives. You know, the barriers to entry are much lower than the stock market was 5 years ago, especially. And I think that you could see, especially in parts of the developing world, absolute revolutions, like financial revolutions, and people being lifted out of poverty potentially, because there are so many walls to entry for banks, for finance, for loans, all this kind of stuff. And this could change everything. We'll get to DeFi later, but that's kind of my general thoughts on it. In terms of when I got involved in it, I got involved in 2016. I was telling some of my mates the other day, I did not make a lot of money on the first bull market. I only dipped my toe in. I probably made like 300 quid or something like that. Nothing major, but hey, it was a profit. The main thing I'd say, it was a test run for me. And 4 years later, here we are, and I feel much more confident now. And that's the most important thing. Like, knowledge is super important with this kind of stuff. Let me turn it back on yourself, because you're the crypto don to me. Like when did you get involved in crypto?
It was actually around the same sort of time. I think it's about 16, going into 17. For me, it was, so my background outside of my Batman Bruce Wayne from music is I'm in the currency world. So that's what I do. Swaki made a good point about Africa. So actually what drew my eyes to crypto was the invention of the app M-Pesa in Kenya, which is the sending of money through SMS. And I thought, wow, that literally removes the fact that these guys in Kenya don't need a bank account. And this is going to change the world. And I'd heard about Bitcoin through loads of different people, right? And I never bothered looking at it until I just went down a Google and YouTube rabbit hole. I sat down, I read Satoshi's white paper, didn't understand 70% of it. So literally got into Reddit groups, found crypto Twitter, and was on random Telegram groups, you know, full of all of these OGs who had like 1 million Ethereum, like 10,000 Bitcoin. And this is when it was still really cheap. I then went on to like Microsoft Azure and created my own blockchain. And I was on Solidity creating my own blockchains on Ethereum. So when I was first buying Ethereum, this will make everyone really sick. It was about £1 to buy 1 Ethereum coin. It makes me throw up. That I just decided that I wouldn't buy like loads of it. But that's how I got in, and that's how I started understanding the ecosystem, and just drew me towards it. And like I said, where my business is currency is just what we agree upon to be the medium of exchange. You know, like in Vikings, it's gold and silver, or it's livestock, right? And I was always going to find a way to bring that in, but we agreed once it was gold. We now agree that it's money. We now agree it's not so much cash, it's numbers moving on a screen. Again, there's going to be a consensus about what that is. Do I think it's going to be Bitcoin? Probably not. But the central banks are moving towards cryptocurrency. This is where we're going to be. It even removes ways of venture capital, like ICOs. I mean, I even got burned on an ICO, but it's still, the ecosystem of it all was just very attractive. So I started dipping my toe in about 16. I think I got incredibly lucky in 17 in that bull market. I had no idea bull market was even on the horizon, but I just got incredibly lucky in 17. I did okay, learned a lot of lessons. I had money on Cryptopia, some coin called Mothership, which I was in love with and married to the project. Crypto got hacked, and that's it. That money never got back. Invested in ICOs like Tezos, which is still a piece of shit to this day. So I guess I made all the mistakes maybe 5-6 years ago, and now we're in this cycle, which, to not get people too excited, I do think we are in the super cycle for crypto. I think this is the infinity or zero cycle. And I'm just finding it very interesting in the ecosystem where 2017 was, we were just happy every day, every time we woke up and we checked the accounts and it was up 10%, and it just kept happening until it stopped happening. And then it was just a 4-year bear market. Right now, it's like, I've just noticed so many changes. Everyone just seems really depressed, even through a bull market. It's like Bitcoin's trading at $54,841. This time last year, it was not even 10% of that. And people are still upset. So it's just funny how much the market has changed. You know, you didn't even leverage trade unless you wanted to go on BitMEX. And again, you go on there, you learn the hard way, you liquidate your account. No one goes on BitMEX and doesn't liquidate their account in their first trade, because you turn on 100 times leverage and you just lose it all in one bad candle. So it was just making all of these mistakes and just messing around with it before I really viewed it as an asset, if I'm being honest with you. It was just playing around with it, the different projects, and making those mistakes, I guess. And I did just fall in love with it since then, if I'm honest with you. And, you know, sort of this is where we're here now. But I've obviously said what I think about this cycle. What's your view from someone who's seen market cycles generally as well? Like, what do you think of this particular bull run we're on? And where do you think we are in it? Because some say we're a year in, literally, right now, 12 months since. Whereabouts in the cycle do you think we are?
It's funny because there's this really clever YouTuber called Sheldon Evans, and I did a tweet thread, whatever it's called, and the next day he just happened to say everything that I was thinking. It's really bizarre, but like, what I think is everyone's kind of predicting that this bull market's going to go up until about September, maybe till December, something like that, and then it's just going to crash. So just be careful, be on alert, basically from August onwards, right? And I can completely understand that, because the fractals, they are comparing it to the last bull cycle. They are thinking it's going to play out exactly like 2017. And I'm like sitting there, you know, like I said, I don't have PTSD from last time, like from 4 years ago. I do, badly. Yeah, I don't at all. Like, you were naming coins I'd never even heard of. Yeah, like that was my level was like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I think I bought a bit of XRP, and that was it. Yeah. So I'm not scarred like in that sort of same way. But for me, I can apply the kind of stock market principles. And if you look at every kind of stock market bubble, they're all slightly different. You know, the end result is that the balloon pops, right? But maybe what if the balloon doesn't pop this time, but it's kind of like, you know, when you're a kid and you have a balloon at your birthday party and there's one on the ceiling. Yeah. And then like you have 3 on the ceiling, 2 of them come down in a day, and one of them just hangs on for 6 weeks. Yeah. For some reason, that balloon just has some heart in it, and it just, the helium in it is just different. Yeah. And it just takes a lot longer. Eventually, yes, it comes down. But basically, what I think is that the rules seem slightly different to me this time, that there's a lot more institutional money coming in. The actual exchanges are a lot more professional right now. You know, last time it was like Coinbase, and Coinbase would go down 17 times a day and stuff like that, and people would be screaming about it. This time you don't have that. You have a variety of exchanges. Okay, there is still, you know, there's still like a bit of scamming about and stuff like that, and there's still certain things that get overloaded, but it's still a nascent industry. Yeah, and I just can't see certain things being allowed to fall as quickly. Like they say, it's like a staircase up and then an elevator down. That's what usually happens. But what if this is slightly different? Saying all that, I think paranoia saves lives and saves money. So I will be paranoid as hell from the summer onwards, without a doubt. But that doesn't mean that I think the end result is going to be what everyone else thinks it will be. So that's my kind of theory. And then once I've made as much money as I can, I will either pull it out or start rotating back into the stock market, because I think so much money is flooding from the stock market into crypto right now. If I can just pull up one stat. So the total value, the market capitalization of all the world stock markets is around 90 trillion. Okay. Yeah. The total capitalization for Crypto is about 1.4 trillion.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then DeFi itself is about 74 billion.
Yeah,
So we're talking
DeFi is very. There's a lot of money on the sidelines in DeFi, and obviously we'll talk about that.
But this is the thing. This is all so early. If you can just extrapolate 10 years ahead, right? Even if crypto takes $1 trillion out of the stock market every year, yeah, it's just it'll take a while to even out, but it will make a dent in the stock market, and you can just see, and it'll become another case of what we were talking about rotation before. People rotate within the stock market, from like, electric vehicles to oil or this. People will start rotating from the stock market to crypto. Yeah. And then when it's crypto's turn again in 4 years' time, they'll rotate back and things like, I think that's what's going to happen. But if you're asking me to call when this cycle is going to end, I don't know. Could it be a super cycle? Yeah, I think it could be.
Yeah, I think you correctly pointed out institutions, and I think that's the biggest difference between now and 2017. 2017, it was the retail and certain investments, right? For certain investment buying, certain VCs were coming in and they were buying this, but we did not have Square and Tesla holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. We didn't have Michael Saylor at MicroStrategy literally pitching S&P 500 companies to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Like, I saw a joke that Michael Saylor selling his office furniture to buy more Bitcoin every time it dips. Like, that guy's a lunatic. But these guys are not going to sell at a loss. Their average purchases are anywhere between 40 to 55,000 per Bitcoin, right? If this isn't what becomes the adoption for Bitcoin as a currency, security, store of value, whatever. This is my opinion. When I said I think it's this all or zero, I mean in the sense of, if Bitcoin can't do it in this cycle, and I'll be honest with you, man, there was days where when we got 20,000, that was like, wow. The fact that we just got 60,000 last week, I'm in disbelief at this point, if I'm honest with you. I'm so euphoric. I'm just cheerleading from the sidelines now. I just have no idea what's going on. I have no feeling or emotion even now when I look at the charts. It's like, what the fuck? Like, it carries on going up. But saying that, I just do believe now, even if I'm just speaking rationally, it has to work now. If it doesn't, we are way, way too early still. And it's just going to go back to being a niche and a niche investment. Do I think we'll go below 10, 20,000 ever again? Probably not. We're always going to be in these high ranges. And this is when, sort of altcoins become better, because the barrier to entry into Bitcoin, though you can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin, right? The same way you can buy a fraction of a share. If Bitcoin goes to $100,000 from here, you're doubling your money. You're not going to see the insane, 500% gains that you might see on certain other altcoins. And now we get to see, you mentioned rotation, obviously in stock. We have the same thing in crypto. We have the rotation from the majors, your Bitcoins, your Ethereums, into your altcoins. And then, of course, you have your DeFi coins as well. And you have rotations into them. And then I do enjoy the price action right now. I'm enjoying, because if Bitcoin starts to lose dominance, and there's certain coins like Cotty's performed really well over the last 24 hours while Bitcoin dumped. It's being in certain coins which will outperform Bitcoin. And the question I was going to ask you is, what is your trading strategy? Do you look to stack sats, or are you just stacking monetary value? Are you looking to stack fiat, or is your plan to stack sats and have that in Bitcoin?
I have been keeping it in Bitcoin. So if people don't quite realize what we're talking about, when you trade a certain coin, you can choose to sort of put it in the US dollar effectively, or you can put it in Bitcoin, or you can put it in Ethereum or something like that. For me, I've just been about accumulating Bitcoin. So I've been pairing them with Bitcoin. That's changed over the last week or so, because the US dollar is just so weak, and it's just going to get weaker and weaker. So I've been playing around with it a bit. But I mean, what's your kind of strategy? Because you're the expert.
For me, it's stacking Bitcoin. It's stacking Bitcoin. The USD chart is, for example, you could go on your Binance today, and let's say you have, I don't know, 0.2 Bitcoin invested that you put in, and that was worth, I don't know, let's say 10 grand at the time. If you have 0.10 Bitcoin now, but it's worth 20K, you lost, because you've lost 0.1 Bitcoin, if that makes sense. you actually would have been better and would have outperformed by keeping your money in Bitcoin as opposed to going into altcoins. So when I'm selecting coins to trade, it's about outperforming Bitcoin at that time, which is hilarious because I'm an Ethereum maxi, and Ethereum might be the worst performing asset against Bitcoin. But the only altcoin I actually trade against the US dollar or fiat generally is Ethereum, because the outperformance over the last year has been on fiat, not so much on Bitcoin. It hasn't really outperformed Bitcoin, I would say, on the chart. Though if we look at percentage return, it has. So it's weird. For me, it changes on the asset and I guess on the thesis that I have. I admittedly, if you say you're in a coin, I just blindly chuck $2,000 into it and it is what it is. You're probably never going to tweet it ever again because now I've said that. But I do make my fair share of little I don't give a shit moves. Like I'll have, like, if I'm drawing down profit of a trade and I just think, like I did it with one last week. Like I took some profit out of Orion protocol. That went up. I shouldn't have taken my profit because it went up even more the next day, but it is what it is. But then I put it in one, and then one went like 100% within 3 days. And it's like, okay, nah, all right, fine. Doing too much, go back into Bitcoin. So it's the rotation still happens, and you'll find that Bitcoin strengthens for a while, then the dominance comes down, the altcoins have a party, and then it goes back to Bitcoin again. And it's just, I find if you're stacking Bitcoin, you won't miss out when Bitcoin takes charge again. If you're fully in alts all the time and you're betting against the US dollar instead, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that point when Bitcoin decides, hey, I'm going to go to 80,000 today, which will happen. It's just one day it will go there. So that's how I sort of play the market. But your point on rotation, it works exactly the same in this market, which is funny as well. And I look forward to the day it's all mixed into one, and then no one will fucking know what's going on anymore. Because a rotation from clean energy into altcoins will make no sense to me at that point. I wouldn't even know how to call that sort of market, right? How we could say, oh, we're going to go from low cap stocks into altcoins. But I can see that being a reality 10 years from now. So it's interesting. So, okay, fine. So we've got your idea on sort of where you think we are in the cycle.
Can I just I just wanted to touch upon one thing, because I want to make sure, like, we're talking kind of slightly high level stuff. I want to just bring it right back down to, I kind of really got back into crypto about 6 to 8 months ago. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just want to talk about, because obviously you've been in it for a long time and like you're the crypto don and stuff, but for the average retail investor who's kind of coming into this market or is still kind of nervous about it, I just want to give one real life example of my coins. Now, as many of you might know, I'm a DJ, and the thing is, I bought some new decks last August, right? Because I was like, yeah, by Christmas time, we'll be back partying. I'll be doing New Year's Eve gigs and stuff. Yeah. Boy, was I wrong. And so in January, do you know what? I was like, screw this. I'm going to sell my decks and put it into crypto. Yeah. So I decided to track it, right? And I took just 300 quid. Yeah. I'm going to give you, I'm not going to expose my whole portfolio, but I'm going to tell you one thing that I did. So in January, I put 300 quid into one altcoin called Celer, which is CELR. And I bought 50,000 coins of Celer. That cost me £300, right? Now, it is 2 months later, that has gone up to £3,000, right? So that's 10x in 2 months. So when people are talking about the cool gains in crypto, this is kind of what we're talking about. And right now, you haven't missed the boat yet. But if you wait another 6 months, you will have missed the boat for sure. And just to kind of ram that point home, I put into a savings calculator. If you were to put that in a bank, right, 300 quid into a bank and turn it into 3,000 quid, it would take you 69 years and 6 months. Yeah. I'm going to be dead.
What interest rate was that worked out? What interest rate
that
was that worked out on?
2%. That's at 2%, right? 2%,
and that's even if you can get 2% anywhere right now.
And you can't really get 2%. So I was kind of like, let's throw the banks a bit of a bone here. But this is like a real world example. So I just don't want people to kind of lose sight that there are real opportunities here. And you can be like, oh, I don't have like 1,000, 10,000 quid to invest. Man, I did it in 2 months ago with 300 quid.
Yeah. 300 to 3,000. There you go. That says it all.
And like realistically, like honestly, Seller I think could do another 10x from here in the next 6 months.
Joseph,
So
don't be saying that shit, because you know I'll do it. I'll
dude,
do
just
it.
stay in the call. Log on to Binance after the call. Let's not
Okay,
lose
all
everyone.
right, yeah, okay, fine. But I'll do it. I will do
But
it.
what I'm trying to say is just kind of like think openly. Don't be closed off. Take a
Yeah.
chance. Yeah. Do your research. Always do your own research. Don't listen to me again. Like I'm a monkey throwing darts, but still, you know, like just it's not too late. Get into it. You know.
Yeah, and I think there's especially with crypto, I think what I like is its inclusiveness. It is like a universal. There's coins for like 1 cent, right? And you know, even if it's not about trying to make money, even if you're just trying to explore the ecosystem, let's say you put £100 in and you buy like 10,000 of this coin, and the project rugs you and you end up with zero and it all goes to nothing. You've only lost £100, but what you gain in experience is really, really good. And like I said, I've had coins nicked off an exchange. Like I've had it. So, but fine, whatever you lose financially, luckily it wasn't even a lot, but it's what you learn that shit, why did I have that money on that exchange? And I'm a person that always preaches having money on a wallet. But even that, I got sloppy. So there is certain things where it's like, it's a real dope ecosystem, because you can learn something every single day. And I think the barrier to entry can be as small as you want. Here's a question. I have a good friend who's a prominent banker, and I remember back in 17, this was like a mid-bull cycle, right? So Bitcoin was probably about $18,000. And he said, hey, I think everyone should put 1% of their net worth in crypto at that point. Now, the advice was not wrong. It was probably badly timed, to be fair, because 30 to 40 days later, it sort of all crashed for like 5 years. But at that point, and the funny, because we caught up recently, and I said to him, have you changed your thesis? You know, 1% is it? He said, no, I'm at 10% now. I would suggest 10% of your net worth being in crypto is smart. Cam, everyone is jumping on it. More people jumping on crypto is good. So crypto is not like a craze, and if more people are on it, it's a bad thing. The more people buying into crypto means there's more money in the ecosystem, which is generally a good thing. It means your value of your coins will go higher. And I don't know what you mean by working for an academy, but I wouldn't work for an academy that's to do with cryptocurrency. Probably doesn't actually exist. Maybe you can elaborate on that. But do you have, and again, the reason why I like to maybe pick your brains on this sort of stuff is your experience generally in markets, and what you do on a day-to-day. You know, if somebody said to you today, you know, I have X amount, what percentage of my investable funds should I be deploying into crypto? Because it is high risk, and I don't think we can ever shy away from that. You know, you have got a stomach a 20-30% drawdown on some days, and it can make you feel sick if you're over invested. But you know, what do you think is a sensible amount for, you know, just for the everyday person? They've got some money on the side, it's investable, you know, everything else is paid for. What would be that percentage that you think is sensible for them to say, yeah, you know, you can take that risk on?
I mean, we touched on it in the last kind of episode that we had last July, but everyone has a different risk threshold, what keeps them up at night and stuff like that. But what I would say is this opportunity will not come knocking every year, the kind of gains that we can get this year. And I would suggest strongly that if you've got a nice, comfortable portfolio of investments, I would say you've got to put at least 10% into crypto right now. If you know absolutely don't know what you're doing, then maybe do a bit less, right? But if you are slightly financially minded and decent with investments and stuff like that, then I just think you've got to take the jump right now, because I mean, this bull market will not last forever. It might end in September, it might end next year, I don't know, but it will go down for sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But the astronomical gains that there are right now are there right now. And so I would just jump into it. Even if you just put in 100 quid, just dip your toe in, just put 100 quid. And then if week by week you grow in confidence and figure out what you're doing, and you know, you follow the right people on Twitter, or you find some really good YouTube channels. Like there's a great YouTube channel called Journey Crypto, which is JRNY Crypto, really good. Sheldon Evans is good. There's so much. And this is one thing I love about crypto is that the democratization of knowledge of investing in crypto compared to the stock market. We've got all these walled gardens, and and it's just they want to take your money in the stock market, invest it for you, but screw you in fees, screw you in percentages every year, and not let you do anything, and then charge you to take it back out, like obscene amounts and stuff like that. It's slightly changed with things like Robinhood and free trade, fine, but in general, this is what like the kind of bankers in the city want to do. And it is fascinating that 2 months ago they were putting out all this kind of stuff like, oh, crypto's a scam, Bitcoin's a scam, and now 2 months later they're offering it to their clients because their clients are just demanding it, and this is how quickly it's turning. So if banks are getting involved, then I would say, look, your confidence level should start rising and just get involved. Just whatever it is that you feel comfortable doing, just dip your toe in and at least learn, just that's the most important thing. Like you were saying, like knowledge is power. And once you sharpen these skills, you might not make loads of money this bull cycle, but in 4 years' time, when it comes again, you'll be ready that time, which is what I was like 4 years ago.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Cycles always will happen. You'll have a bear market, and there's always money to be made in a bear market. And then there's always money to be made in a bull market. So opportunities, as long as you're still going to be here, there's going to be opportunities. But you're right. I think now is a good time to at the very least learn. So my next question is, when you trade crypto, do you trade on leverage or do you just buy the coin?
I buy the coin. And I will tell you 100%, I am not a leverage trader because I do not have the skills. And if I had the skills, I would definitely consider it, But what I consider someone to have skills is if they properly learn, like from a trusted authority, if they spent years doing it themselves, right? And they have the emotional coolness to be able to kind of remove themselves, and they're not going to panic at every slight thing. The thing is, if people don't know, leverage is when you you kind of borrow money, in order to put it against a coin or a stock and bet that it will go up or down. And I don't even gamble on sports, put it that way. I think once I bet on the Grand National when I was like, 16 or something like that. And that's like pretty much the extent of me. So I'm just not that minded like that. However, if I had the skills to use leverage, then fair enough. But I would not recommend it to anyone. Even if you got lucky, you could just liquidate all your wealth, basically. Whereas at least if you buy and hold something, okay, it might go down, but at some point you can just pull it out at any point, really. And then you've banked it, Leverage, I'm sure like you have the skills to do leverage and stuff like that. I don't. So I just put my hands up and say, don't do it.
So I actually don't leverage crypto anymore. I don't leverage crypto. I used to, and I think it was less choppier back then. Right now, if I look at the price action even over the last week, I couldn't have won any of these trades. It's too choppy. It literally is just taking out stops and orders on both sides. It's literally liquidation hunts. And what I mean by liquidation hunt, if people don't get that, is there's orders on both sides, people looking to buy and sell. It's going to trigger you both. It's going to make you buy and it's going to make you sell. Then it's going to make you sell your buy and buy your sell. And it's just going to take you out of the trade. For me, I prefer, especially with crypto, if I hold the coin, there's more I can do with it. Back in the day when I was when I was just buying and selling Bitcoin, for example, on like Polynex, you could lend the Bitcoin, and you can still do this on Binance with particular coins as well. You can lend that coin out for 7 days and get 3% on that coin. If you're comfortable with what you're holding, why wouldn't you get the 3% on top of the value your coin's also going to gain? So I think that's one advantage of actually holding the coin. You can get some yield out of it, which I think is a really cool system in crypto as well, that you can do that. How do you decide to pick a coin? Like, for someone here that says, all right, I want to go into the crypto ecosystem, and the person who's asked about most user-friendly platforms, Binance or FTX, I would say are probably going to be your two best friends to maybe look at. Or Coinbase. Coinbase is expensive as hell, but it's the most user-friendly interface, I would say. And someone says something about IM Academy. IM Academy are a pyramid scheme. So no, when you lend your coins, is it at a risk? There is a risk, but it's not a very high risk. And then it depends how much you're lending out. I wouldn't go and lend out my whole portfolio of a particular coin. I would maybe take 10% of it to yield whatever it's going to yield, if it makes sense. But But yeah, Jessel, so, you know, for someone here, they're about to enter the ecosystem. You log onto Binance. There's like 1,000 pairs of all these different coins. How would someone, and how do you particularly decide this is the coin I want to invest in? This is something I believe in, or, you know, what do you do? And do you believe in it at all? Or do you just buying because you can see a good chart? Like, how does it work for you?
I would recommend anyone who's new to this. First of all, I would use Binance because they've got like a sort of like trading version where it looks quite complicated, and they have a really simplistic site. So you can just like hit that tab, and it has a nice simple site on your phone. It's so good like that. So that just won't confuse you too much. I would immediately just put half your money into Bitcoin and half into Ethereum, just right at the start, because that's nice and low risk. It's easy. Everyone's heard of those.
Or 100% into Ethereum. But go on.
I wouldn't do that. Like, yeah, but those are kind of like the big dogs. Those are the experienced ones. They're not going to you're not going to lose your money and stuff like that. Yeah. But then what I would do is throw yourself into the world of knowledge, of learning about crypto, because that's just the best way. Like I said, Twitter and YouTube are just all I need in life basically is Twitter and YouTube. Like that's all I need. You can take away Netflix, Disney Plus, all that kind of stuff. Just give me those two things and I'll be happy. Yeah. And the amount of incredible traders on Twitter who are just sharing their knowledge for free is incredible. But also the thing is that there's a difference between trading, which is when you're looking at a coin and hoping it goes up or down and then or whatever, and then doing a specific trade. And then there's a difference between buying and holding. So if you just find something that's good, buy it and then just leave it for a while, and then just check in on it every time, maybe even every week, every couple of weeks. That's it basically. And that's a much more stress-free way of doing it, I would suggest. There are some coins that are getting big. I would just look in the top 10, top 20 of all the most popular coins. Basically, you're talking about things like ADA, Cardano, Ethereum, obviously Bitcoin, and then there's ones that are kind of breaking in there. You've got Litecoin, which is getting on PayPal now and stuff like that. So the ones that are quite big, just stick to that for now.
Litecoin's winding me up.
Grows.
Litecoin's winding me up. I'm gonna get impatient on Litecoin.
You got PTSD from that though, right?
Yeah, well, Charlie Lee dumped it, and it's never gone there since. And you know the problem with Litecoin, and I guess this is the problem. Like, I have a bag with it, but the CEO dumped his coins. That has to mark the top, right? I'm in belief that maybe not, right? And it's at $200. I don't know. So maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I have PTSD on Litecoin. I do for sure. I have really bad PTSD on Litecoin. What I would say for people to add to what you said, looking at the top 10, top 20 coins is a good idea. If you go on Binance, look at the top coins. I would visit all of these coins websites. This is the best way to learn. Now, this is long and drawn out, and maybe only 10% of people would do it. But to know what you're investing in, you know, if I say buy Apple stock, fine, you know what an iPhone is, you know the Apple ecosystem enough to not even have to research into price earning ratios to think, yeah, I'll buy some Apple stock. It will do well over 10 years. For me to say, hey, you should buy some, and Ethereum, I guess, is, you know, one of your large caps. But if I say, yeah, buy some Ethereum or buy some Bitcoin, what you should do is first look at the website. What do these things actually do? What is the whole point of this particular coin? If you're looking at the other ones, they'll have a Telegram group where you can literally join their chat and you'll be able to speak with their CEO. You'll be able to speak to the whole team. You'll be able to see what they're up to. You'll be able to see what their roadmap is. Like the Hashgraph coin that you tweet about a lot. I looked into it, looked at their roadmap. After, all right, I know I memed it in the beginning and I didn't know what I was buying, but afterwards, when I did research it, generally what I'll do is I'll look at what their roadmap is. What does the company do? Does it look like it stands a chance? You then got to look at these people in the company. It's worth Googling some of them because some of them have been a part of scams before. They were a part of ICOs that never went anywhere. And if you got one of them, you know what you're dealing with. Not saying don't buy the coin. It might still go up 100x, but it's knowing that you could get rugged at any point. So it really comes down to the research. And then, of course, you have the TA because the chart will tell you the story a lot of the time in crypto because there's not a lot else to go on, unfortunately. A lot of the time it is just TA. But I find that when I'm looking at coins, I'll be in a select amount, and unless I'm just buying something because Jessel said so, it is literally just I will go through it, go on Telegram, speak to the people that run that particular company, find out what they're actually trying to do. It is pretty long drawn out, but if you're looking to hold an investment for a year plus, it's worth the month you spend maximum prior into looking into what they actually do. And that's one thing I'd advise people to do. I say that knowing people are not going to do that, but I have to put that disclaimer in because that's the research I do. Unless I'm just aping into something, and I'm always upfront when I do that, and I just do it based off a chart. But generally, I think the investment into the knowledge has to be done into a particular coin, and then you can feel comfortable because you said in the last time we spoke, you want to invest in something where you can sleep at night, and it's not going to keep you up at night worrying about it. If you know the company you've invested in, you're confident in what they do, you're confident in their roadmap, how they're going to roll out, then you'll at least be able to sleep at night. If you've deployed funds into it, you're not going to be worried about next day everything going to zero. Hopefully your coin can still stand the test of time inside that. So that's generally how I think about that and how I decide what I'm going to buy, to be honest. But I thought it's important for people to actually know that there is a process to it, as opposed to, hey, someone said this coin's good and I just go and blindly buy it. And I'm guilty of that sometimes, but I do that with profit. I don't do that with money that I need. I think that's important to put out there as well. I guess one thing that's probably worth discussing, and it's all of the talk right now, is NFTs. And how you think that's going to, I guess people know what they are. I'm going to go on the assumption that people know what they are. Or should I
wouldn't assume. I would just give them a brief. You're the NFT Don, by the way, so I would.
So NFTs are non-fungible tokens. They are, simplest way to describe it, it's having a digital presence of a particular thing. I.e., I could put out a piece of music today and I could put out the original version online and somebody could buy it and own it. There's various advantages to this. NFTs I've bought have been ranging from art to Street Fighter cards, literally NFT Street Fighter cards, because I thought they were cool. The same thing that attracts people to collectibles in real life. I collect Pokemon cards and things like that. The same thing that attracts people into those sort of collections or collecting art. I think from what I know about you, you're into certain collectible items as well. Things that attracts us to that, owning these cool things. It's not so much about the investment side of it. It's not about the return. It's about the artist. The artist can get paid really well from it. And we are both artists in our own right as well. So I have a bias towards NFTs, I have to admit. And from an investment standpoint, yes, there are some really cool investment opportunities, but this is the same way I look at Pokemon, right? I like opening packs. I like shiny cards. I like cool shit. I think it's cool. And I think NFTs has exactly the same thing. We've seen musically, Tory Lanez has done stuff with it. Artists are really, playing around with it now. They are making some money, but the cool thing is they're in the ecosystem. NFTs will be what happens now. We will literally have digital lives. You will be able to have a whole life, literally as if it's in a Sims game. If you've bought, if you play an online game and you've bought a skin for your character, that's literally what an NFT is. I think that's the only way I can simplify what that ecosystem is about, unless you have anything to add to it.
The only thing I would say is just kind of like it acts as a proof of authenticity. So say, for example, if you bought Eminem's autograph, right? And like someone on eBay was like, yeah, this is definitely Eminem's autograph. Yeah. I did not just scribble it myself and forge it. Yeah, I'm going to charge you 100 quid for this, right? You could be like, if you're just buying it from eBay, you'd be like, okay, I'm hoping that is Eminem's autograph, right?
Yeah.
But with a non-fungible token, say if you've got a digital work of art, then that acts as a certificate of authenticity, effectively, where you know who has bought it and who's created it. You can track it all, basically.
Yeah.
I still think there are a couple of security risks at this stage with certain ones because we are still so early. We're just still so early in the game. So I think it will take a while to play out, but it is something that could revolutionize independent artists, especially. I don't care about the big artists; they can go to hell. They've already made all their money. They've got labels behind them, this, that, whatever, you know. But independent artists who are like, you know, this is their, and they've been suffering a lot. A lot of them have over the last year.
Yeah.
This could be a massive boon to them. So I'm all for it. My philosophy, I know you're a collector, which is amazing, and I'm sure like one day you're just going to like strike it rich off some random NFT. But for me, I'm like more about buying the companies that are controlling the NFTs effectively. So I recently, well, actually, I got ridiculously lucky, or maybe it was research, a bit both. There's a company called Ecomi, and the ticker is OMI, OMI, and I got in really early time in February when it just started popping, and now it's gone up a lot since then. So I've done quite well, but I'm just going to still hold that. It's still basically 1 cent per coin, so a penny effectively.
Wow.
And I would suggest that people really strongly look at that. It's a bit of a faff at the moment to get. I had to go on Bit4X and go to and open up a new account and stuff like that, but it was worth it, put it that way. But anyway, they have over 100 licenses with huge companies for creating NFTs. And so for me, that's my play into NFTs. I just can't be bothered to search for this stuff. I don't know, like, I think if I go into it, I'll go down this rabbit hole. I kind of know my personality, so I'm happy kind of like controlling that from like Puppet Master kind of thing. So
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I think a good way to get involved with any space really is like to ETF it, right? It's, you know, find an index of some sort or a coin which benefits from that. If you are confident in DeFi but you're not confident to go and buy on Uniswap, then just buy Uniswap and buy Sushi and buy the DeFi exchanges, buy those coins. If you're confident in the crypto space, buy Binance. You know, like there's ways that you can look at a market and say, hey, I'm bullish this, I will invest in the exchanges, because if you're selling the shovels in the gold rush, you'll inadvertently do well. And I think the Binance coin proved that this year. You know, for example, if you're bullish NFTs, Ethereum makes sense. If you're bullish DeFi, Ethereum makes sense, until you start looking at the fees, and then that's a complete different conversation, which maybe is beyond the scope of what we're talking about today. But I think that's what's beautiful about crypto. It's just you end up in this rabbit hole, which is just never ending after that. The only thing I actually didn't do in crypto is mine. I bought a Litecoin miner, right? It was a USB one. It was real cheap. I still have it here. I just can't get how to work it. I need to just sit on YouTube one day and figure out how to make that thing work. But the only thing I haven't done in crypto is mine, which I guess we're probably past that point now, maybe.
I would say
most.
So. I
think we're past that.
I mean, just to add to that, what I would say about crypto is just such a fascinating, brave new world. And it's kind of like, you know, imagine being at the start of the stock market effectively. And right now, Bitcoin's been around for what, 12 years, something like that. And it's only really getting popping now over the last 5 years. Like, we are at the start. And so if you're involved in crypto, even if it's a small amount, 100 quid, whatever, then you are part of 1% of the whole population of the world who actually are involved in crypto. And you'll get everyone else being, oh, Bitcoin's a scam, or cryptocurrency, my mate got scammed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's cool. You know, let them have those thoughts, but don't let that take your focus away from the opportunities that are being dished out left, right, and center, especially this year. So it's not too late for you to get in. This is just the start. But what I would say is just involve yourself. You know, everyone has different comfort levels, but it's a really fascinating journey. My knowledge compared to you is probably like 10%, if that, right? I would suggest. But I'm still really enjoying it, and I'm still making
it's more than you
money
admit.
out of it.
It's more than you admit.
Maybe, but that's because I've got a slightly obsessive personality kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like,
But that's
can
a
I
good
just
thing.
point out? Can I just point out? I'm a huge Liverpool supporter, and the timing has been great because Liverpool are just terrible right now. So I've been telling all my Liverpool fans, supporter mates, I'm just like, forget about football right now, right? Whatever happens, happens. We can't even control them by going to the stadium and cheering them on. Throw that effort into something that's going to make you some money. Like, why not? You know,
I like that.
So.
Yeah.
So all the, you know, watching match of the day, this, that, blah, 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 just forget about it for now. Take that time and put it into something that's a healthy obsession that will make you and potentially your family a lot of money. So that's my philosophy with that.
I like that. One thing I will say before I move on to our next point is people that refer to Bitcoin, and I mean particularly Bitcoin here, not cryptocurrency. People that refer to Bitcoin as either a scam or a pyramid scheme have not looked into it. And Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan said the same thing 4 years ago and was just buying it the whole time. Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street scammer, said the same thing 4 years ago. Now he needs it to go to 100 grand because he obviously took out a bounce back loan and put all of his money into it. Like all of these people that bet against crypto over the last 4 or 5 years, apart from Peter Schiff, are all in it now. Now it is 100%. It's worth £100 to at least explore the space. And even from what you said, you know, £300 to 3 grand, which is absolutely phenomenal. Even if you don't get that, don't go in chasing that 100x or the 10x. Even if you manage to make £5, profit is a profit. We all come from a humble investment outlook, right? You know, we, like you said, where we are now, where is inflation? 1.3% in the UK right now, 1.2, 1.3%, I think, right? The target's 2%. If you can yield more than 2% in the year, you beat inflation, at least your money can buy you more than it would have bought you before. That's all you're trying to beat in any investment. That's the reality. Of course, we're all looking for alpha and try and get the 10% return over the year, the 15%, right? But if we're just looking at, you're just dipping your toe in, hey, it's £100, even if you lose it all, don't worry about it. And if you're in a situation where you can't do that, then don't deploy any capital at all. I will say that. Wait it out. Opportunities will still arise over the next 4 years. Like Jesal said, as mature as the space seems, we are still early. We are still way, way early on this. And I think there's a lot of room to go. Okay, this might be cheating a little bit. Do you have coin, and I'm going to be really mindful about this. So I don't want you to advise anybody, but do you have interesting projects, not coins, so don't give any tickers. Do you have any projects that you think are worth people's time to Google that look like they could maybe do something in the future? Have I worded that right? Did I word that okay?
Is this just in case like Rishi Sunak joins the chat or something? Like
yeah,
that?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think the big spaces are DeFi and NFT, but
Yep.
honestly, I just think there are opportunities all over the place. Like, you know, I've mentioned a couple of coins that I'm involved in personally, because I don't mind saying it, as long as people don't go out and run and buy exactly based on what I'm telling you.
Yeah, don't do that. You should never
Please
do
don't
that,
do.
people.
Just
no.
don't do that.
Don't be like me.
The one coin that I have an emotional attachment to, because there's literally one coin that I actually think
I know, I can
is
tell.
the one one you mentioned before, which is Hedera Hashgraph, and the ticker, I will say the ticker because just in case, it's HBAR, so HBAR. And that to me is just an example of technology that is so far ahead everyone else. It's just literally at least, like, I think 4 or 5 years ahead. And that's the one coin where I would probably keep in potentially, even if there was a bear market, because I think it could buck the bear market effectively.
Interesting.
And that's one thing where if you get into the rabbit hole of learning about it, you start discovering, basically you discover what Bitcoin's about. You discover all of the weaknesses of Bitcoin and Ethereum and this and Cardano and all that kind of stuff. And you compare it to something which is just really rock solid.
Do you think
really
Cardano has a chance?
Cardano has a massive chance, but a lot of it is theoretical right now. So it's kind of like, I know there's a lot of snark about it that they haven't done anything yet. And then how come their market cap is so huge? And then like number 3, number 4 coin right now, which I do agree with. But I just think, I have a feeling that it couldn't get to that stage without lots of behind the scenes movement effectively. And there must be a lot of proof that they are doing some real good. So, but again, let's see. You know, it could be something where it takes them longer and longer and longer. But I think eventually it will come. It kind of reminds me of Tesla, where people kept sort of ragging on Tesla, and like, I know it was trapped in this range for 3-4 years and stuff, and then eventually it just blew up, and they really just shot into sort of 5th gear.
That's interesting.
Well, do Teslas have gears? I don't actually own a Tesla, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay,
but
that's an interesting point. Do you get? Well, you maybe answered my question. Do you get married to particular coins?
I really try not to now, because I just think at this stage, you know, if the rug is going to be pulled from crypto in a year or less than a year, then there's no point. Like even with the stock market now, I have very little emotional attachment to coins. There's just no point really.
Yeah.
You know, there are companies, there are coins that I think, yeah, this is great. And like going back to Cardano, if Charles Hoskinson is as good as his word, that can make a massive difference in Africa and really help the lives of millions in a truly like, you know, quantifiable way. By, you know, micro loans and decentralized finance and stuff like that. It could make a huge difference. You know, I think, but then there's always going to be the other side, which is the big banks and the huge finance industry, which doesn't want that. So they will try and suppress that because they're in control of all that.
Yeah.
So for me, kind of like, you know, crypto is almost a revolutionary act right now, and we're only in pretty much the first or second chapter of this book. So I think it's going to be huge, and I think it will benefit the lives of many people around the world. That's why I think it's so exciting. I mean, how about yourself?
So as far as like particular projects that I've been the biggest Ethereum fanboy documented for ages. For two reasons. A was generally it became so underpriced last year. It was stupid not to, in my opinion. And then it was the DeFi ecosystem. Then we saw the DeFi summer where just DeFi coins were just, I'm not exaggerating. I was whacking in like 1 ETH into something and pulling out 5 ETH 3 hours later. And when I tell you, you lose attachment to anything, like you lose all emotion because it was weird how it was going. And my main thing is that right now with Ethereum, obviously there's a lot of talk about, and again, I don't want to go way too beyond to a point where people don't understand what I'm saying, but there's, you know, on DeFi, there's platforms like Uniswap, like PancakeSwap, Sushi, where you can go in and you swap Ethereum for another coin. That's basically all you're ever doing when you're trading. However, the fees to trade Ethereum are extremely expensive. Like to pull out 1 Ethereum, you've got to pay 0.1 of an Ethereum to get that money out. So you're paying 1/10 of its worth just to pull out one.
Which is like 150 quid right now.
Exactly. So if you've only made 10%, you've made zero because you're spending 10% to pull that money out. So it's just impractical for the DeFi ecosystem right now, which is why you've got certain projects I'm really a fan of is actually the Ethereum competitors and the ones that are going to take out Ethereum. So you've got like your Solana. Solana is probably one of my favorites. I really like Solana. I play around with the ecosystem a lot. You can switch from Ethereum into theirs literally in a click. Anything that Sam Almeida is involved in, I love. And this is what I'm saying about certain people. If somebody is investing in a project, I believe in it. It's like the same way Elon Musk decided, hey, I've just added Bitcoin to my balance sheet. Bitcoin price shot up because he's a person you believe. Sam Almeida is that for me. Another one is Suzu of 3 Arrows Capital in Singapore. I regularly check their website to look at what projects they are either yield farming in or investing in because they're a VC. And if I see they're involved in a project, I know their thesis is they do not dump their private sale coins. They either ride it to 1 billion or zero. That's his words. And that's why people love him as an investor. I'm not saying all of his coins or anything he's involved in will turn to gold. I'm not saying that. But I believe in his thesis. So I would look into something a lot more if I see certain names attached to it. So I would say actually looking at the 3 Arrows Capital website will give you a good idea of some really cool projects and anything Sam Almeida's involved in. And he owns FTX, the exchange, and Solana and projects like that. So I think that's a good way of, that's just an insight into what I look at, how I decide. And because I've been so bullish Ethereum, I'm bullish the platform, the layer that everything is built on. The more you can build on something, I feel that could become more valuable depending on how EIP 1559 goes June, July. We could have Ethereum bull market or it all just goes to shit. I don't know. We'll find out in a few months, but I would say that the platforms themselves, the same way you talk about NFTs and you're betting on certain things that are going to benefit from NFTs, is kind of how I'm deploying my thing into crypto right now. That I feel that's where the energy is going to go into these other uses. Because the one thing we mentioned, PTSD from 2017, the main difference right now from now to then is these coins actually have utility. In 2017, ADA, I traded regularly. It was nothing more than a pipe dream. It's 2021 and it's still theoretical. So it shows you how long some of these projects do take to come into fruition. The people that hate ADA right now have PTSD from 4 years ago. Right. People that hate XRP, Ripple and XRP are two different things. Ripple as a company is fantastic. That's a game that I'm involved in currency. It's what I do. What Ripple are trying to do will revolutionize foreign exchange globally. XRP is just a token. And again, people got burned because it was the well-known one that went from, a cent on the dollar to $3. I know someone personally who them and their dad got $5,000, put it in XRP at $3 and watched it disintegrate over the years to the point where they have nothing left. So the main, I think, difference between now and then is that a lot of these coins have a real use case. You can see them right now doing something. They literally are a company. They're doing something right now. And I think that's important. Like there's certain companies that might do something in the future. That's also great. But the teams involved now are very different to 4 years ago. They're not scammy ICOs and it's not that anymore. And I do think it's a lot safer than what it was. You had to learn the hard way a little bit on some, but I think now, yes, you're going to get rugged sometimes, but it's a very small chance. If you've done your research, it's a minuscule chance that will happen to you, unless a bear market occurs. That is, what we'll call, that systematic risk, right? Is not your fault. It's the whole market goes at risk at that point. But that's generally the sort of stuff that I'm looking into. Okay, so we're in a bull market, Jesal. How and when do you exit? At what point do you decide I'm calling it? Because we can't call the top. Like, it's impossible to call the top, right? So how does Jesal decide I'm good?
Right now, I mean, as of last week, I had about 20 different coins. And then over the last week, I've reduced them down to about 10 now because it's just more manageable. It's just doing my head in a bit.
Yeah.
And what I will do is I'm happy just to let them just sit now for the next kind of like 3 months, especially up until kind of May, June time. From around June time, I'm going to start going on alert. Once certain coins hit a price target, and I think, do you know what? I'm happy with that. Yeah. Seller has gone from, my 300 quid to 30 grand. Yeah. I'm fine. Let's not get greedy and crazy. I'm going to pull that out and do a loft conversion or something. Do you know what I mean? Like whatever it is, for whatever reason. Then I know at least I've banked a good amount, a great amount, to be honest. And then I can sit and think, okay, this coin, I still believe it's going to go up, but I will be keeping my eye out on the market as a whole, because at some point it will go down, and it might go down quickly, it might go down slowly. But I think this is where you have to have targets and objectives and have an actual plan and then stick to that plan. You're not going to call the top. You might get out at, 60% or 80%, and then you'll be haunted by that like 40 or 20% that you lost out on or lost out on. Yeah. But as long as you banked the money, you haven't lost anything. You've made a shitload of money. Yeah. And that's the important thing, right? So that's what I would just try to impress upon people, and just be happy. It's really easy to get greedy because this other guy's on Twitter is like, he's done like 100x in 7 minutes or something, and blah 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 blah. Or my neighbor's dog, is now owns a yacht in Russia. Okay, fine, whatever. But what you have to do is focus on yourself, your own life, and your own objectives, and just have a good plan, basically.
I think that's great advice.
I mean, how about you? Can I just turn that on you because you're the expert?
I think for me, it's very similar. So this is my problem with price targets, right? With crypto is I find it impossible to target price unless I'm looking at technicals. Now, I take issue with certain coins like Coty, for example, which keeps breaching all-time highs. So why do I target it? It's like 54 cents or something, I think, before we hopped on this call. Are we targeting the dollar, or are we just targeting it because it's a psychological level, or so this is where I've always had a saying, nobody goes broke by taking profit. I publicly, you see me on Twitter all the time, I'll take profit and it'll go up 20% the next day. It is what it is. Like I will look at something and say, wow, I'm up 80%. I'm taking money out. I might even take half off the position. I don't know how high this goes. If we all knew that answer, we'd all be on yachts. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't be having this conversation from our rooms. So yeah, you're right. It is about having a target. I look for a certain Bitcoin amount usually that I want it to go to. If I'm happy with that, if it happens in a day, great. If it takes 3 months, great. But generally, I try and I'll say this to everyone: outside my whole portfolio, I will go to cash on 10% of it a week. When I say cash, I mean I go into stable coins like USDT. So every week I will deploy out 10%. So what I aim to do is make more than 10% every week. So by taking out 10%, my stack's not getting lower. It's still growing, but I'm going 10% into USDT. So when a dip happens, and this leads me to maybe my final crypto question. These dips in a bull market are disgusting. They are enough to make you feel sick if you have too much money invested, if you just bought right now, like last month, for example, if you just bought on a Monday, by Thursday, you were down 30%. How do you stomach this type of volatility? Like, it's very different to what we're used to in the world of stocks. You know, we have limit down, for example. If it goes a certain percentage, the market halts, gives everyone time to breathe. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Like last March, it just kept going for a week, right? But you don't see that often. In crypto, you will have, hey, it's gone down 10%. Wow, that's good. Just 10% of your net worth just gets wiped off your portfolio. How do you deal with that on a psychology thing? Because this is actually, I think, maybe something that people don't talk about a lot. What do you do when you look at your portfolio and it's down 20%? Because it happens to all of us. What do you do in that moment?
I think there are two issues. First of all, when you say your net worth has gone down 10%,
your crypto
that's
net
only
worth,
if you then, no, but even so, right? That only is relevant if you then panic and take it out and don't believe it's going to go up. Right. If you just leave it, or you were in a coma for 2 weeks, right, and it happened to have gone 10% down and then 20% up, you'd be like, oh yeah, chilled, no problem, right? So that's one thing. It's only a loss if you actually take it out. Yeah. The second thing I'd say is there's a lot of FOMO right now, right?
Yeah.
And you can either look at it and say, okay, FOMO stands for fear of missing out because everyone's just jumping in and everyone's making all these amazing profits. Or you could look at it and think, well, you know, focus on more opportunities. Yeah. If you look at FOMO in that respect and think, well, there's always going to be more opportunities. You know, you could take a bit of crypto money and spin it into retail estate. Yeah. You could turn it into, you know, stocks and shares. You could do this. You could open up a restaurant. I mean, maybe not open up a restaurant this minute, but you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, you could put it into an Amazon shipping business or something like that. Whatever it is, just have an objective and kind of use it to fuel your own life forward into actually achieving your dreams, basically. And the other thing I'd say is just no matter what happens, right? If the bull market ends quite quickly and you've managed to take out quite a lot of money because you were alert, then don't just spend all that money. For the love of God, I implore you, because just think forward 10, 20 years, right? If you make like 5 grand in this bull market, that is a good amount of money that you could then reinvest at the right time into something else. Yeah. Now, okay, we all have various kind of pulls on our personal life, our professional life, our financial life and stuff. But if you can, just keep investing it in some sort of capacity, you know, just stay in the game. It's so important to stay in the game. That's what I've learned, you know, and that's where I've made mistakes over the years when I really needed the money, took it out, spent it, and then that opportunity cost is gone. And I'm kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? So this time I've kind of really learned from that, you know.
That's like the best advice ever I think someone could give, to be honest. Yeah, honestly, that I needed to hear that as well. I think that is literally the best advice. I can't really even add anything to that. I think if you know what your long-term plan is, I think if you're being sensible along the way, I think if you are taking profits, you are keeping your eye on things. But like you said, maybe don't watch it too much as well. Maybe just have, you know, I like to use price alarms. I don't really sit there and stare at things. Also, the key to crypto, I find, is actually having your money in a hardware wallet. It's so hard to panic sell if you have to whack out a fucking USB, plug it into your laptop. You have to be in a place to do that. It's probably locked away in a safe somewhere. You can't do it when you're out. it helps you not panic sell. And it's, for me, it's the biggest thing that helps, because in 17, I had to learn that lesson. Like, I had a day, right, where I opened up my Coinbase. It was down like 40%. Me, idiot, I sold. Next day, I bought back in 10% higher. Classic FOMO move. It was literally the classic thing you don't do. But you have to do it once and then realize, well, I'm never going to do that again. So when I saw, well, the dips that we've seen constantly, my stomach doesn't wrench anymore. Only because it's like, sometimes I look at it and like, wow, we're scared of Bitcoin at 54,000. Like, imagine that. 54,000 Bitcoin and people are turning bearish overnight. It's at 54 grand. Yes, if it went back to 5 grand, maybe I'll turn bearish. Maybe if it goes to 20, I might turn bearish. But at 54K with a top at 60 so far, I'm not bearish. This is a healthy correction. Like you said, the market does not just do this. It does this, but the trend is still up. And the trend is always your friend. I have people I know who, they're leverage traders, right? And they'll ring me and say, yeah, I've seen Bitcoin go up, I'm going to short. And they just get liquidated. Because when Bitcoin decides it wants to move, it will move. And that's crypto. It is what it is. I have one last piece of alpha that I want to drop for people. Bitcoin is a 7-day market. It's not like the stock market. The stock market is Monday to Friday. Once New York closes on a Friday night, you haven't got to worry about stocks again until Asia opens and you start to see gaps in the market and pre-market trading and things like that. Crypto is 7 days a week, 24/7. So it is just constant, which is bad, I think, in some ways. I think it has its advantages as well. There used to be certain, every night we see when Asia opens, prices dump 90% of the time. If you're a leverage trader, there's easy things to look at there. One thing I will always say, and I think this is something I've just been observing for the last year and it's come to fruition more, is the weekend is always wrong. Whatever the move is on the weekend, it will be the opposite on Monday. Anytime we pump on a weekend, I sell on Sunday, whatever it is, because I know I'll be able to buy back in lower on. Between Monday and Wednesday, I'll get my opportunity again. I actually prefer when we dump on a weekend, because that means we get 5 days of gains afterwards. If we have a good weekend, generally the market's pretty crap for the rest of the week. This weekend was good, generally. Since yesterday, only particular coins have outperformed. So just for people, if you're observing, and I do think a trading journal and just observing the market is always good. One observation I'll give you the cheat code on is the weekend. The weekend is always wrong. Whatever the market does, the crypto market, does on the weekend, the opposite will happen come Monday morning.
But can I also just add, look after your mental health as well, because with the stock market, like you were saying, it opens at 8:30. For us, it opens in the afternoon and it finishes at 9 o'clock in the US stock market, Monday to Friday. You can just switch off. Evenings, you can basically switch off. Weekends, there's literally nothing to do. And that is good because, with crypto, it is 24/7. And if you've got too much skin in the game and, this is the one coin that you're pinning all your hopes on, a few months ago,
never works, by the way. It never works. That's never going to work.
No, exactly. And there was one night, I think it was that night that Dogecoin just shot up like 600%. And I swear I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like, okay, I am just too invested in this right now. Like emotionally invested, I need to just chill. So just take a step back from it. We all go through this cycle and whatever it is, but just take a step back. The world is not going to end tomorrow, if you don't check your Binance or Coinbase kind of account, So,
agreed.
And like you were saying before, just put price alerts on, so it will tell you if the world is going to shit. It will tell you, but you don't have to keep checking things. Basically.
Yeah.
I will not take that advice myself one bit. And straight after this call, I'm checking Binance, but I'm a gigantic hypocrite. So, again, never listen to me. Listen to Premz. Do not listen to me about anything.
No, do you know what it is, though? I just think it's a bit, you know what? I think we all have good tendencies and we have I have certain degenerate tendencies when I trade, right? And if I openly admit it, it's one of those that, especially when I put it on Twitter, and I do it on purpose because I put it on there and I can G-check myself and say, shouldn't have done that shit. And I like doing it because you have to hold yourself accountable. I've always kept a journal for trading, right? And I think it's quite good, even if you're buying stock or crypto. And it's not so much the prices I buy in at, I write why I did it.
Okay.
And basically, in a bull market, I counter trade myself because I'm so risk adverse. So what I do is I look at my usual thesis and say, hey, I would usually sell at this point. But you don't do that in a bull market. Jesal, the Ethereum move I caught, I didn't sell anything till 1950 to 2000. I didn't sell once. However, in my journal, I wanted to sell at 500. I wanted to sell at 600. I wanted to sell at 700. I didn't. I counter traded myself all the way up. And then at 2000, I had 3 targets on Ethereum, and I'll share them here. What they turn out to be, 2000, 2500, 3000. Those are my 3 targets. I don't think you see 10K Ethereum. People that are putting in call options at 20 grand Ethereum, you're going to lose your premium. I don't see it going there. And if I'm wrong, great, you're all going to get rich without me. Fantastic. I'll have fun staying poor. Those are my targets, my real targets. But on the way up, if it goes up 10%, I'd usually take something out. Like I said to you, I take 10% off the portfolio every week, right? With Ethereum, I had so much conviction. I did about 4 trades last year. I did gold, I did silver, I did Bitcoin, and I did Ethereum. Those are my 4 trades. That was all I decided to do. And I had my targets. So I try and counter trade myself, which maybe I don't advise for everyone to do, but I know when I have tendencies in a choppy market to take whatever gains and run, if you're going to ride a bull market, you got to ride it all the way. So I sort of just counter traded myself on the way up.
That is fascinating. That is like Ragnar Lothbrok thinking, man. I have to say that's like next level.
I was pretty impressed with it. Like when it came down to it, and then I was so happy, like when I did take profits in the sort of 19 to 2000 area on Ethereum, and then we're just 1300 within 48 hours after that. I was like, I'm glad I stuck to the plan, because I just, that number. And the funny part is, I remember that night, it was a Sunday. I was sitting there going, "Oh, shall I just let it ride?" And then it was a Sunday. Weekends are always wrong. Like, there's a reason why I do everything. The second I was like, no, it's a Sunday. It's dropping tomorrow, guaranteed. I put the tweet up saying, I'm looking for entries. I want a bloody Monday tomorrow. And then it was like a bloody 3 weeks. So the dip just kept dipping, right? So, yeah, that's just an insight into my thinking with crypto. It's kind of degenerate, but there is a sensible side.
I think
to
you got to be a bit twisted at times, like,
Yeah,
or just like let's put it in a nice word. You got to be a bit contrarian sometimes, because if you just go along with the herd with everything, you're going to get eaten by a lion at some point, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly that. So I think I just try and get into Bobby Axelrod mode, like when I'm looking at crypto, because you sort of have to see the matrix a little bit sometimes, and it's not always possible to do. And I do have those days where if I can't see the matrix, I don't bother. I don't do anything. I just let it ride. I'll just chill. But either way, I do find it like 1,000,000% more enjoyable than stocks. I find stocks boring as hell. Like, I like it, but it's just not as fun as crypto is. Like, crypto is just fun. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, the first time I used Uniswap, this might sound nerdy as hell, I found it fun. Like, I just found the whole thing so cool. And I think that's what got me into crypto. And I just don't ever want that to change. So though I enjoy the investment side of it, actually still my main interest is in building things around crypto. I have a very good friend that recently built a derivatives exchange from it. And I'm just fascinated by how he's done that. And he's in America. He's in New York, and he's managed to get the licensing. And unfortunately, we can't use it here because we can't use derivatives for crypto here. But I'm also studying for my derivatives exams at the moment, so I have a particular fascination with it anyway. But it's just about building stuff in the ecosystem, because I truly do believe, I believe governments are already holding Bitcoin. I believe central banks are already holding Bitcoin. They have no reason to tell you. They don't have to tell you. This is a part of our world now, and things, NFTs, things like that. The fact that we'll have, our own, hey, Jesal, you can view my collection online. This is what I've got. You can just see it. Do you get what I'm saying? It will be our new vanity metric, and crypto will give us that. We will have our own lives not within crypto, but within the sort of space along, on particular blockchains. I'm sure our taxes will all be done on the blockchain one day. That's the only way the government will get honest numbers out of everybody, right? So there's particular things, voting. well, if we want honest voting, it will all be done on the blockchain, but that's a different conversation. But, you know, when I think about the future, I don't know if this is going to be 10 years, if our children will be able to live it. I don't know how much of it we will see, but the fact that NFTs have kicked off so much, it says, oh, wait, maybe we've just fast forwarded a little bit over this last year into the space. So that, you know, where I'm seeing Mark Cuban getting excited about NFTs, where, you know, when I'm seeing, listen, the fact that young ads from D Block Europe released an NFT would have been a top signal in 2017.
Yeah.
That would have been the day to sell everything. But it wasn't. This is how, in my mind, we are definitely in a super cycle. Like if Soldier Boy is tweeting about Ethereum and the market doesn't dump 80% once he sends that tweet out, we must be in a super cycle. Because usually, you know, the hardcore underground, you know, crypto guys would just dump it all just to dump on them. So we're definitely in a different place. But okay, I think, do you have anything else to add on crypto? I feel like we covered a lot of ground.
The last thing I was going to say is something really simple, is that we are brown people, right? And we have grown up with families who store a bit of wealth, a bit of just in case wealth in gold, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, mothers passing down, you know, jewelry to their children or whatever, or like when you get married, someone gives you a whole shitload of gold and stuff like that. And that is brilliant, and it's worked for centuries. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Bitcoin is the new gold. You know, there is like, it's just a different form of gold. They are effectively, if you view them as the same thing, it is a hedge against, it's just in case, basically. Yeah. In case the government kicks us out and tells us to go back, even though we were born in this country. It is the case in case, it's a hedge against if the currency collapses, because the US dollar is insane right now. They are just printing money at, you know, never before seen levels, right? So it's just to me, it's just a sensible precaution right now. It's just like buying gold and keeping it in a safe or something, you know. Agreed. Just Bitcoin. I'm not talking about all the altcoins and stuff like that. I'm just talking about Bitcoin itself. Yeah. And you don't have to have a huge amount of Bitcoin for it to change your life. Like when I was looking about like 5-6 months ago, I think like basically 0.26 Bitcoin at the time, which was probably about, I don't know, maybe $5,000 or something like that. That would put you in the top 1% of Bitcoin holders in the whole world at that time. Now, obviously, institutions have moved in and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm telling people is just get a bit. You know, you don't have to have a lot, but just get your skin in the game, and it's just a good hedge. You know, like it's just a new gold. Treat it like that. And you look at the market cap of gold and the market cap of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is catching and catching and catching, and within a few years it will eclipse gold. I am telling you. And the great thing is that if the shit hits the fan, you have to go find your gold, find someone to value it, then sell it, and the whole process takes ages. Trust me. Bitcoin is there. It is just there. And if you need to bribe an immigration officer to get through border control, you could be like, here's a bit of Bitcoin, man. There you go.
So you've actually brought up a really cool point about sovereignty. And Naval obviously talks about this a lot. And I think he put it perfectly once. And he said, there's always going to be someone who'll sell their house for your Bitcoin. Anywhere in the world, if you have to flee your country for whatever reason, and I sound this and it sounds hilarious, but my mum had to flee Uganda when Idi Amin came in. These are all things that have happened in our lifetime. Well, not in my lifetime, of course, but in the lifetimes. If they had Bitcoin, they could have had it on a paper wallet, come to England, met up with a Bitcoin community group or someone that's willing to, and got cash for that Bitcoin. And that is one super advantage to it, as opposed to gold. Like you said, yes, it's a fantastic store of value. Trying to offload gold in a meaningful quantity is not easy at all. So, you're right. It definitely has massive benefits from that perspective. I would say to people, the most simple thing, if you're looking to start buying crypto, the best thing to do is to average in on a monthly basis. If you say you want to put £100 in, like Jesal said, £50 in Bitcoin, £50 in Ethereum, standing order every month, buy £50 of each. Let's say it all comes crashing down this year and we enter another 4-year bear market. By the time 4 years is done, you'll probably have 1 to 2 Bitcoin, maybe, depending on how low the price drops. So at the very least, you'll have 1 to 2 Ethereum coins. when the next bull market arises and you have one Bitcoin, people that were buying Bitcoin for 3 grand, literally this time last year, literally this day last year, they were buying it for 3K. That is now worth $54,000. And people did it exactly the same way. They just averaged in. So it's definitely the easiest way to go in. You average in your buy price. You don't bet it all on one price and lose sleep for the rest of your life every time you hear it drops. You'll hear it drop and go, oh, okay, great. I've got my £300 or £100 I need to put in this month anyway. And you'll put it in. I think it's the best way to maybe go into crypto, where you minimize your risk and you maybe welcome a dip a little bit more if it does happen. And if it goes higher, you're only buying a little bit at the higher price. It will average out. And I think that's a key part. So even when, when people buy stocks, they average, you're never going to get the timing right. And I think that's something maybe the internet doesn't show you, because, everyone's bragging all the time. I do it too, but we're all bragging all the time. But even if I look at my entry points on, particular trades, I spread it out. I'll buy across different entries and I'll average in at a price over 6 to 7 entries as I increase my position. And then that's my price. I don't just buy it and I've got the bottom and then it goes up and then I sell the top. No one does that. It's literally impossible. So, don't believe the hype on the internet. I'm trying not to really oversell it or even over glamorize any of this, but I do think it's like the coolest space out there to look at, even if, you don't care for cryptocurrency, blockchain technology enough. It's sexy enough to look at and think, wow, this is really going to change life as we know it and every system that we work and use, right? So that's definitely one thing I'd probably leave people with on how to do it. Download Coinbase or Binance or something, put a little bit in, and maybe just decide, whatever you're putting into your ISA every month, maybe take £100 from that and say, I'll put that into crypto instead. You were already going to invest it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I'd recommend.
And then, and just remember, you haven't got to pay capital gains until you actually sell it back into fiat currency. So if you put it into USDT or something, no cap gains required because it's still in a stable coin. But maybe that's beyond the scope of this conversation again. But always remember the tax man as well.
Yeah. And the last thing I would say, the real last thing, is that this is kind of like a revolution that is coming, and it's going to affect so many areas of the entire world. It's going to affect your life. And if you think that the stock market doesn't affect your life, because you're not invested in it, you are invested in it. It's your pension. Your pension is involved in the stock market. The people you entrust your pension to, you look at the fine print and they are going to start investing into Bitcoin as well, or into crypto and stuff like that. So even if it's indirect, wouldn't you rather just have a bit of knowledge and just think, okay, I at least understand. You don't have to go and invest your life savings in there, but just start to understand the whole game. This reminds me, honestly, like, I know, Premz, you're like super young and stuff. This reminds me of like 1998, basically, around that time with the internet, when the internet started to go crazy and everyone was just jumping on the internet. And then there was a bubble and it all collapsed and stuff. And then at the time when the internet bubble popped, people were like, okay, well, that's the end of the internet then.
That's really funny.
Was that the end of the internet? Yeah. And you can see these articles online at the time. Yeah. You couldn't see it online at the time, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like back then, a newspaper being online was a picture of the front page of the newspaper, and you had to zoom in and read it. Yeah. Now think about that and how far it's come in such a short space of time, where the internet has we're talking over the internet. Everything has changed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if blockchain and crypto is going to change everything to that level, but it will change things in a huge level. So just be prepared. Don't be a dinosaur, basically.
Yeah, beautiful. I think that can conclude our crypto discussion. So Vikings, where are you at in it?
Yeah, man. I finished season 6, episode 3 today.
Okay, I'm ahead of you now, by the way. I'm on season 6, episode 5 or 6. But so far, where are you ranking it?
What, the whole show or this season?
No, the whole show. Like, where are you ranking it in your all times right now? Because I don't know if I'm bugging.
To me, it's like
I have an opinion.
To me, it's like a perfect. It's a perfect treadmill program for me. I have a podcast and I talk about treadmill programs all the time. it is great where you don't have to have intense concentration as to every aspect of the show and what's going on. There's enough action in it, there's enough kind of intrigue in it, and lots of different things. It's not Game of Thrones level, put it that way, but all the last season has to do is just be better than the last season of Game of Thrones, which I would never forgive them for, basically. I'll go on until my deathbed about how bad the last season of Game of Thrones
The last season of Game of Thrones, I would go as far as to say the last two weren't great, but the last one was absolute dog shit. But even the one before that wasn't fantastic.
But I like Vikings. I really like Vikings, but it's kind of like guilty pleasure. Like I wouldn't go back and rewatch the whole thing, put it that way.
Do you know what's bad? I think I would.
No, that's not bad.
I think I would.
Listen, you do you. What? Never apologize for what you like when it comes to TV and stuff.
I honestly think I prefer it to GOT.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm bugging, and maybe, obviously, I need to finish it, right? And once I've got the whole thing, but I don't know. I just now have an obsession with like Googling stuff about the Vikings and things like that. Like
the Vikings were real though. The Vikings were real. Game of Thrones, okay, there's like a very loose historical basis, but it is fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Vikings was real. I watch it with Wikipedia open half the time, like for sure.
Yeah. And I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, matter of fact, and he was saying that, and he's going to do a piece, right, on certain sort of Greek mythology, the Viking gods and Hinduism, and certain linkages. And he actually sent me a thing to do with Rome, why Rome is called what it is. And so I'll send it to you. It was mad cool, but I was working at the time, so I didn't have the time to properly in-depth read it. But there's some real cool shit. And I think, yeah, you're right. The fact that it's real. And when I started Googling Bjorn Ironside and this was a real dude, I didn't know what to do. I just want to be Bjorn Ironside. I want to be a descendant of Odin now. I've decided I am a descendant of Odin. Literally, when we're out of lockdown, I'm going to raid cities. I'm going to put together a group of people and we're raiding cities and we're going to Valhalla, bruv. That's all I care about. Like crypto, this is all fun. This is getting me through this. But once I'm finished with Viking, I'm going to kill a bear, use it as a jacket.
Skull.
That's it, bro. That's it. But no, I'm enjoying it. I'm actually scared about what I'm going to be able to watch to follow it up, because I'm just obsessed with it. And I haven't felt like this about a show maybe since The Sopranos was maybe the last time I felt like, wow, like, because I'm in love with the whole Mafia era. And we talked about this on your Jay-Z podcast, right? But like the Mafia era to me is like the best era. But like the Viking era might be better than the Mafia era in New York now. Like it might be that good.
I love it. I love the show. I think it's just so much fun. Like it's really great, you know.
Yeah, but no, I'm enjoying it. I've heard there's another one called Last Kingdom on Netflix, which I heard is supposed to be good as well, which is Viking based. So maybe I will watch that next. But I haven't heard too many people talk about it, so I'm not sure if it's worthy. I've heard no one talk about it.
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll see.
Cool, man.
We'll see. But anyway, bro, I think this I learned a lot. I always like your balanced way of thinking. You have a very balanced way of looking at things.
I'm a Libra. I'm a Libran, so there you go. That kind of makes sense.
That does make sense. My brother's a Libra as well, so that does make sense. You two have very similar auras. You have very calm auras. But yeah, I think hopefully people benefited a lot from this. Jesal does have a podcast. Unfortunately, it's nothing to do with cryptocurrency, but it's about cool shit. You can plug that if you want, because it is.
I mean, it's about like films, TV shows, music. It's called the Transatlantic Rebels podcast. I mean, actually, what I'd really love to plug, I kind of like didn't mention at the start of the podcast of this IG session, but I've actually set up a company with another guy over the last few months, and we're doing podcast production.
Nice.
And it's going so well that we're almost at capacity after about 6 or 7 weeks. And it's going really well. So basically, if you want to get in touch, if you're thinking about setting up a podcast or you know someone, then we can take you from like literally the very beginning to the very end of it. And we're working with some quite like, not to be weird, but some quite high net worth clients as well like that. So it's kind of like, it's kind of worked out quite well. So that's going phenomenally well. It's kind of like a side hustle that's almost eclipsing my real job.
That's amazing, man.
in 2 months is crazy. Like, it might not always be like that. Let's see, but it's a really good start, and it augurs well. Like, Odin is happy, so
Oh, it's good.
it's good.
That's good. Squad.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fantastic. How are you? So are you doing that all remotely or?
yeah. Completely.
Wow. I want
Yeah,
a
man.
podcast.
Yeah.
I had a podcast and then we got lazy and actually enjoyed
You
doing
guys
that.
made it to 11 episodes, right?
Yeah, something like that. And then it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, it just
That was
got,
a good. That was a good
missing.
podcast.
But
Yeah.
getting three people in a room is very, and I love my friends to death, but it's not easy. Like getting three
But
people
I
in the
do
room.
it with I do it with an American guy, and we actually share the same birthday, and like that was the premise of the podcast at the beginning, and like plus our mutual love for a couple of artists and stuff. And we've been going now for 5 or 6 years or something like that.
Wow.
And we've never met each other, so he's based in like
You've never met each other. That's crazy.
No, man. No, man. We spent hours on Skype with each other and recording and all this kind of stuff. And basically, people come to us for things like Eminem, hip hop, blah, 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 that kind of music, but predominantly Marvel, because he is just a Marvel expert, like properly. He's like read every comic, all that kind of stuff. Like he knows it inside out. Plus, we're both of color as well. And I just think it's great to have a podcast out there where you're having a different perspective on things. So like when we talked about Black Panther and stuff, you were getting stuff from us that you were not getting from other podcasts, put it that way.
Yeah.
So, and I think Marvel is just such a great, like the WandaVision ones that we did recently have been huge. And that was a great TV show. We'll be doing the Falcon and Winter Soldier, all that kind of stuff. Like Marvel's just huge now. It's just, that is it. That's the big one.
I've actually just started watching it because I watched WandaVision the other week and I did it all in one weekend and I was just amazed with how great it was. And then just decided to I watched Captain America, was the first one, and I've got to slowly try and get through everything over time, because I did the same with Star Wars this year. I watched all the Star Wars.
Oh, okay, cool.
Did Star Wars, but
we love Star Wars as well, actually.
Yeah, like, so did it but I did it in like chronological order, so from episode 1 to the oldest one, which was quite cool. Which was very cool. I think it's just hard to deal with like all of the latest stuff, and then suddenly it turns into this really old 60s movie. But Solo was heavily underrated, man. I thought Solo was a wicked movie. I thought Solo was so good. But then every time I read a review about it afterwards, it was like, no, Solo was a piece of shit. I didn't like it. I was like,
no, a lot of people liked it.
Yeah, but I really fell in love with that. So that's one cool thing about lockdown. I've done definitely a lot of things that I wouldn't maybe usually have the time to do, or have the energy to do, or think I had the time to do, is the thing. I've been as productive, maybe more, but I've still been able to bang out 5 seasons of Vikings.
I feel like a different person, man. I feel like a different person, and I feel like I've grown so much in the last year in almost every capacity. Like I just feel I don't think I could ever go back to how I was before. Put it that way. I feel like a different person.
No, I don't.
Crypto is part of that, so as well.
What's your exit strategy for lockdown? Like, what is your and I mean that as an honest question. Like, what is your mental exit strategy to, like you said, you don't want to go back to what it was before, but you have to return to life, like going out and stuff again. Like, what is your exit strategy from your house?
I think I'm going to struggle with it more than most because I've been very risk averse over the last year.
Yeah.
And going by Twitter and everything like that, I've been really had my finger on the pulse. I've kind of cooled off a bit, and I managed to have the first shot a little while back as well. So that's good. So after that, I felt a bit more confident.
Yeah.
But I'm still very cautious.
Yeah.
Saying that, I mean, it's kind of like, at a certain point, might come June, like, what are you going to do, man? I mean, it's kind of like, there you go. I'm sure there will. You said at the beginning of the podcast that hopefully there won't be another pandemic in our lifetimes. I'm pretty sure there will be, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or there'll either be a pandemic or a world war, put it that way. Because we're following like the last century.
Yeah.
We've done Spanish flu. We're in the roaring 20s now, right? You can understand why people dressed up so much, because they were in their hoodies for 2 years, which is basically what I've been for a year now.
Yeah.
And like they went out, did all this crazy shit in the 20s, right? That all went to shit in the 30s, and they went to war. And it's kind of like, oh man, let's just hope we don't get to that stage. But I just think there are going to be more and more black swan events. So I'm just trying to prepare myself mentally and just sort of stay cool when bad things happen. Bad things happen in life. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
So, you got to be prepared. And And yeah, as far as my exit strategy for Corona, I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, I think naturally, kind of by June time, things will start progressing. And yeah, I just hope people get the vaccine. Like I got my garden redone a few weeks back. The guy's finished about 3 weeks ago or so. And the landscaper, I shit you not, right? He was so anti-vax that he said, I will not get the vaccine. I would rather God strikes me down dead than me take the injection. And I was like, wow, you'd literally rather die than get an injection to prevent you from dying. And I was kind of like, and the thing is, because you can read stuff online and people spout off online, but this guy was real life. I was employing him to do, and he was telling me this, and I was like, wow. So never underestimate the sentiment of people on the street, because on Twitter, we are in our own bubble and we don't know what's happening in real life. And a lot of people will not get the vaccine, or they're in two minds about it and stuff like that. So I don't know how I feel about that. And that's not even me judging people. It's just from a basic medical standpoint. I'm just kind of like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that, basically. So I just hope people get the vaccine, but let's just see.
I think there might be more, I guess I'm saying I think and hope the vaccine, the anti-vax thing might be more posturing than what will happen in practicality, if I'm honest with you, because I personally have a lot of friends who all last year up until December, like, do you even believe in Corona? Like, I don't believe in Corona. Like, it's not the tooth fairy. Like, that's how they were talking about it. And then January, they were ringing me like, Premz, this Corona thing's real. Like, I know. So it's slowly, unfortunately, becoming a reality. And I say unfortunately because unfortunately for those people, for it to become a reality, it sort of has to hit someone they know. And I think a lot of the anti-vax thing is like, it is maybe posturing, I think. And I think the way it goes, you see people kick off on the internet about vaccine passports and things like that. I mean, it exists for certain countries anyway, for like malaria jabs and things like that. Like, there is going to be certain realities that I think will make people feel more comfortable, i.e. if I go to a concert, the Ticketmaster have talked about, you need to have a vaccine or you have to do a test. That is logical to me. That is complete logic. If there's 10,000 people in a room, I want to know it's safe before I start making that decision. I'm just about comfortable to say, hey, just all let's, meet up in the park in a couple of months and, maybe go to an outdoor restaurant or something, like, at the most. To get me back to a concert, though, is a complete different story. So
completely,
you have to see how it plays out, man. But all right, I'll love you and leave you, bro. I thank you for your time and the alpha that you have shared. I'll post this up so people can watch it back. But yeah, I think a lot of gems have been dropped today. I might even have to watch this back so I can take this.
You know what? I watched the July one we did. I watched it last week, actually.
Yeah.
Just to do a kind of compare and contrast and see how we were right or wrong, or what kind of sentiment we were. And it doesn't really matter, because the main thing is, it's just, this acts as a really good time capsule to how we were feeling at a certain time about certain things. And I would say I would implore people to share this with your friends as well, because maybe not the Vikings bit, but like the previous hour and 10 minutes, where I think there is so much value. And this is not just like, okay, you could think, well, it's just two guys on the internet talking, fine. But I think this is kind of potentially life-changing for someone out there. 90% of you might just think, okay, cool, it's got me thinking. But I'm just hoping there's a few of you out there who think, well, okay, I'm going to take this more seriously now, and I'm going to do the research and throw myself into it. And to the victor goes the spoils. If you really go for it, I'm telling you right now, this next few months, you'll kill it. You'll absolutely kill it.
Agreed. And remember, we're not selling you anything. That's
exactly.
One thing
I have nothing to sell you.
We will not sell you a thing. We're two friends talking, and we feel hopefully
this is not a pyramid scheme or anything like that.
Don't.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not even going to give you a referral link. Like, do your own research. You work it out. We have nothing to gain. We just want you to gain. If you come back and tell us, hey, we made some money, fantastic. That'll make me feel happy. But apart from that, we want nothing from you. So this is all coming from a good place.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Exactly. Couldn't have said it. Yeah, exactly.
But all right, my brother, give love to the family. Keep safe in a couple of months in a park or something. Outdoor link up.
For sure,
man.
For sure.
All right,
For
my
sure.
brother. Take care of yourself,
All
man.
right. Thank you so much, man.
Bless,
Thank you
bro.
so much. All right. Peace.
Bye.